introduce.
Hi everyone, my name is Titus. I'm Chainlink community advocate, and I will be here speaking to you guys. And just in case you have some questions or some doubt about what Chainlink is building, feel free to ask me. Feel free to ask me. And if I miss any question, I will be sponsoring your beer and alcohol tonight.
Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the developer experience lead for Filecoin Virtual Machine. So I'm from Protocol Labs, which is the development team behind Filecoin. Right now, we're working on a new project, which is scalability for Filecoin. Also doing developer experience and some growth there. So yeah, if you have any questions, come ask me. We'll talk more. But happy to join this panel today with two awesome people.
Thank you, guys. My name is Chuy. I'm Chuy García. I'm happy to be here. I am a community manager for DAppNode. And yeah, if you haven't heard about DAppNode, we basically develop an operative system that makes it easy for non-technical users to run their own nodes. And yeah, I'm originally from Mexico, but I've been in Barcelona for a little bit more than a month. So yeah, happy to be here as well.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. Today's panel is around fostering growth and adoption. I'll just share a little bit of my experience, and then I'll pass it on to the others to share their experience too, and we can always take questions of what all of you are interested in. We've been hearing that you all have been building really interesting projects or starting your own startups, so happy to answer any questions around growth and adoption. So in my experience, we launched the Filecoin Virtual Machine about a year and a half ago. For context, Filecoin is one of the largest decentralized storage networks today. We provide on-chain representation of your off-chain storage, and we have a lot of storage providers based all around the world that will store your data off-chain and then through a deal provide that data back to you. We also created IPFS, which is working in complement really strongly with Filecoin. So based on that, we had the Filecoin Virtual Machine, where you will be able to do programming on the Filecoin L1, which then led to a lot of different use cases like DeFi, storage, smart storage, and so on. So my job was to work with a cohort of about 50, and then it slowly grew to about 100 different builders that were coming on to try our product for the first time. We were still in beta at that point of time, so we built with them for about 6 months. And after 6 months, we spent another 3 to 5 months working with all these projects to bring them onto the mainnet. So there was a lot of resources that we had to create while the product was still in development. There was a lot of testing and iteration, and I actually think having such a program is one of the best things that you can do for your product if you are, especially in the Web3 community, when in Web2 I think it's more formalized as compared to Web3, and in Web3 everyone's always very experimental, they're willing to try out things that are still being built. So you can take the enthusiasm and bring them in to try your project, and they'll give you live feedback as to the features that you need or some documentation that you're missing. And so that allowed us to improve the product as we were getting ready to ship it to mainnet. And when we finally launched, we managed to launch with 50 projects that were going to mainnet at the time of launch, which was a really big deal, and was also able to show to the ecosystem the credibility or the validity of the project and that the product actually works. So that's like a high-level overview, and I can get more into it, but I will let my other panelists share some of their experiences with growth and adoption. Yeah.
From Chainlink part, and I think majority of you might have heard what Chainlink is building or aware of what Chainlink is building. I mean, like the reason you could be able to go to your favorite cryptocurrency today and see the price, it was made possible by Chainlink data feed, Oracle that makes, like you call the off-chain price, and they reflect on-chain. And there have been a lot of rollout ever since, like data feed. Now we know the weather is very, very unstable, and we know how difficult it is to call off-chain data, and they reflect it on-chain. With data feed, Chainlink actually make it possible. You could call an API that you know the current weather in any country, and it will reflect on-chain, which is practically impossible before. There is also, we know traditional blockchain, it's practically impossible for two blockchains to communicate together. I've seen there are a lot of innovation going into building a bridge to enable this communication. All the bridges got hacked. Then boom, Chainlink built CCIP, which is more secure, more more decentralized in a way to make traditional blockchain to communicate together in a more secure way. When you transfer arbitrary data or messages, those data are saved. And also there is other product being rolled out from Chainlink part. So as a community advocate, one of the things we do is not only to onboard more community or contribute to the growth of the Chainlink ecosystem, also educate the community on how things work in the Web3 ecosystem, and which could be a little bit problematic because most of the people who come to the ecosystem come through the financial freedom perspective without paying so much attention to the product that enables this financial freedom. And to me, I believe Chainlink enable more community-focused environment without focusing so much on the speculative aspect of the asset. I don't even know how much is Link price right now because I don't care about that. So I just focused on the product and how to make the product more industry standard, which enable peer security and onboard people, introduce people to how to legitimately or securely build a credible smart contract. And that is one of the things that is very, very essential. I know a lot of products will come with if you use blockchain, your finances is secured or what, but sometimes just focus on the product more, not the finances, right?
Okay, so who here has experience running your own node or operate a node at the moment? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's always it's always a few in the room, and right now most ecosystems, like this is a reality for a lot of ecosystems because of the level of difficulty to participate in decentralization, in infrastructure resilience in general. So when you talk about DAppNode and growth and adoption, it is a very close conversation to the average user in Web3. And when you make running and operating nodes easy, you're also sidetracking always the current status of what is going on in the ecosystem. So DAppNode started back in 2018, and back then Ethereum used to be proof of work. So by the time it merged to proof of stake, DAppNode was already there, making it work for non-technical users, for home stakers. And right now we are at a very key moment because a lot of technologies around validation and around security are starting to evolve, especially with the narratives of liquid staking derivatives and also distributed validators. So it's speaking about growth and adoption at the moment is very interesting because there's going to be more opportunities for collaboration because running your own home validator used to be something only reserved for people that had 32 Ether, and then Rocket Pool started lowering that barrier and making it accessible for people with 16 Ether and then with 8 Ether mini pools. But now people are going to be having the opportunity to operate for other protocols like Lido with the experiments that they are running around simple DBT and also community staking module. So I think it's going to be growing in interesting directions because in the end, what we got to facilitate is the user experience that people with no technical approach are going to be testing, for contributing to the network. So that's kind of like the scope and growth.
Yeah, I guess follow-up question for you. I think you raised a good point around anticipating how the industry is moving forward, and I I mean, I think we all face that challenge where it's like you have a product, you shipped it, and you're trying to drive adoption, but at the same time, Web3 moves so fast that new features are coming out every day. How do you face that challenge of anticipating the needs of the industry and being able to give that feedback to your product so that it can update itself and keep with the pace of the industry? How do you do that to drive adoption?
Sometimes because I'm more on the community side of DAppNode. Sometimes also the developer team is also trying to adapt, and it's like as if it were like funneling down, like, and because then by the end it's kind of like my job to make the community around DAppNode understand what the devs are trying to catch up with on a broader scope. So something that has helped is just do a bunch of like open sessions. We call them DAppNode crash courses. And we usually just like demo stuff and new features that we're gonna be releasing soon, and just trying to always like teach people that are already using DAppNode how to just extend the possibilities with their machine. Like a lot of people are validating at the moment, but some other people are practicing just operating a node and giving a purpose to people that are not necessarily getting a lot of profit from running their own node, kind of like aim in that direction. I feel also that it has a lot to do with incentive alignment and just the diversity of opportunities that are out there. So yeah, every like opportunity to expand the use that people give to their own personal servers is always great to see happen.
Yeah. So you do want to?
Yes. I think one of the things is for the natural organic growth to happen, every product needs to produce something beyond over incentivizing the community in a financial way. And this is what I remember this month alone, Chainlink has organized 2 boot camps where almost 5,000 people participated. And the 5,000 people, maybe 80% of them are just trying to look for a way to build a product or become developers, which also provide another onboarding mechanism for any product that want to build a very long-term sustainability in terms of the community and growth. And also, every year, Chainlink normally organizes like 2 to 3 hackathons where there is a lot of financial incentives for new developers to come into the ecosystem. You build strong products by services provided by Chainlink. And this also means that it's lowered the barrier to entry, because we know the blockchain ecosystem could be, if you don't have the right guidance, it could be really, really tough to get into. You don't know exactly what you want to learn. You have no idea how it works. You might end up even put yourself at risk, because you will interact with a lot of smart contract that is not secure, just in the name of just trying to navigate the ecosystem. So you need at least someone to like bring the entry barrier really, really small, and then properly onboard people into the ecosystem. And also for most of the developers, I think a lot of people are doing it wrongly, right? For every product to be successful in the ecosystem, you need a very strong community behind it. And when I say community, it's not a community of speculators, but people who actually legitimately supporting the product. A lot of people doesn't even know, just for instance, a lot of people doesn't know what Ficon is, a lot of people doesn't know what IPFS is, but majority of you knows what NFT is and who makes NFT metadata possible. It was Ficon, right? So sometimes you need to really water it down for the community to understand what product you're building and make it extremely easy to onboard them, and then they become your long-term supporters. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the point that you raised that people don't know what Filecoin is. I think Filecoin has also I just want to say a shout out to Chainlink, because how many people here have watched the Patrick Collins 48-hour.
Yeah.
Who finished the 48-hour video? Oh, okay, great job. Yeah, I think I got to like 30 and I was like, whoa. But yeah, I think Chainlink does a really good job of hosting like boot camps that bring it down to really basic levels. And I think that's really how you start to build community, in my opinion. I think there are a lot of, if you look at, I think recently there was a report on Web3 developers incoming into the ecosystem, and there was like a lot higher percentage that were newcomers as opposed to people that have been there for quite a while, which means that if you're building a new product today, you have a great opportunity to come in and capture those people before they find that chain that they want to stick to. And I think that Joel mentioned a really good point, which is to bring it down to the basics and introduce people. I never assume that they understand. I think even if you go around the conference today and ask everyone, what's your definition of a roll-up? You will get very, very different answers, and that's okay, because I think it is confusing, right? Web3 is that way. And I think that's a very big learning for Filecoin, whereas like what we had to do is we have a complicated product. A lot of the engineers in protocol labs are very, very technically strong, but also face the challenge of how do we bring that into a very easily understandable way for developers to adopt, or how do we, it took us a year. I was enrolled for a year before we finally got to a discussion that made us realize that we need an SDK to make it super easy for people to upload data. And that's like duh, but it just took us that long a time, and it took a lot of organic community feedback for us to reach that point to be able to ship that. And so I think when it comes to organic community too, if you have a very technically complex product, one thing that we've learned that is really useful is you have to go into the ecosystem multiple times through multiple hackathons. We did about almost close to 50 hackathons in 2021 or 2022, which is a lot. And then I think I myself was involved in about 20 plus hackathons just last year, and only through all those different hackathons could we start to identify people that really stuck around for organic reasons, that wanted to keep building on Filecoin and build impactful solutions, which is a bit different to those speculators, which is not a bad thing, but they're more in it for seeing how the coin is going to progress, and you will see when times get hard, you will see that the organic ones are really the ones that you want to keep around. So I think that was a big learning for us, that it really takes time over time for you to see who are your committed organic community contributors, and how can you then provide them with micro grants for like the solutions they're trying to build, give them the support that they want, give them the mentorship that they're looking for, so that they continue to contribute. And actually some of them, like just shout out to some of our community contributors like Rishikesh, like they start producing blog content that then attracts the next wave of developers. So that's like 10x impact, and I think that that's something that you really have to put effort into, especially if you're a community manager. I think we all know the amount of time and effort that goes into one-to-one conversations, but you just got to do it. Yeah.
Trying to make it as flexible as possible. If you have any question, if you want to just make it as much interactive as possible, so we don't want to be the only one speaking, so just ask any question if you want.
Hey guys, Axel here from Soulbound GG. I'm community manager at that project, and I've been working in the space as community manager for the last 3-4 years. I started on a DAO. It's from Swissborg. Swissborg is an European exchange based in Switzerland, for those who don't know. And something that I realized in that process, it was like we were creating content in the written form, in video form, in forums like Reddit, on Discord, Telegram, but currently, where do you see that there is the biggest need of creation in terms of those community advocate members that you can find once you have settled the first steps in the strategies?
Want to go first?
Can I just clarify? So you're asking what is the best format for community contributors to contribute?
Yeah, exactly. What's the most impactful so far that you've seen?
I'll just go first. For me, tutorials, blogs. I think the easy answer, of course, is like Twitter. Meme lords. Yeah, those get a lot of traction. But if you think about, if you're going to measure your metrics at the end of the day are adoption. If you do a meme lord Twitter account, you'll get good following, which will be useful in some way. But in terms of adoption, you might not get that conversion you need. I think having longer form content in Web3 is really, really needed right now. And I'm not saying so long that it's like, what are we even reading, but long enough that, you know, it breaks down things, it teaches them how to use it, and it shows them exactly why. I think we need more of that. And I think those that contribute to Substacks are really, really cool. Yeah.
I think that addressing challenges in a direct way sometimes can lead you to interesting things. In DAppNode, we have this idea of the software, and especially like the repository, like putting together a DAppNode package or something like that, must stay permissionless and you know, like open for anyone that would like to put together a package. But at the same time, that has brought some challenges. And we were recently discussing like, oh, we have some problems with outdated packages, you know, like from people that put them together and never really like came back to them, and some of them are outdated. So I think we were having some ideas around having this kind of like reputation system, like mashup with you know, like incentives around putting together packages. So I think in the space in general, it's always interesting to, you know, like address challenges and try to put together something with what you have and what you know. And well, you know, you never know. Even if you put together, you know, like a proof of concept or something like that, and it's not really what you were looking for, it might be helpful for another project that is looking for solutions or something like that. So yeah, I think that's also interesting.
From my own understanding, I think there are a lot of things, and I'm glad you mentioned reputation-based approach. And I also believe making people fully exclusive is one of the things that is underrated. I don't want to read a lot about the product, even though a lot of people might not have the technical understanding or to be able to decipher the use cases of this product. But I still believe that there are a lot of technical people that will be working for you to break it down. But the thing is, can you capture these technical people and make them your ambassador or your advocate, or to preach the gospel of your project, even though you're not there? Then how do you do this to make them feel exclusive, like they have access to real-time information that is not public? You let them go out there, create the content, instead of you creating the content on your own because you don't know. There are a lot of good freelancers out there that could write better than every other PR agent, right? But how do you identify these people? Give them the chance. Let them become your core community member. Give them this exclusive access. Give them even their contribution. Make it a reputational-based contribution. Because I know right now there are a lot of things I could do with my Chainlink proof of attendance stamp that a lot of people cannot do. There's a lot of things I could get access to using this reputation-based approach that a lot of people can't. I got access to LA Chainlink product, a lot of people cannot. Then it's my own responsibility as an advocate to be able to explain this to people who don't have access to it. So if, let's say for instance, you might roll out a lot of content from your own side, and then you got maybe 55 million reach. Plus, if I do from my own side, maybe 1 million reach, it's already adding to yours, right? Maybe from my own side, we have other advocate, then you create this very effect, right? So I think the focus should be on identify the people who will serve you well, or give them the build a reputation system with them, build an exclusive, make them feel exclusive. There's some psychological effect people don't understand when it comes to the concept of exclusivity. Yeah, it plays so well. Yeah, you give them like, you are so special, then just leave the rest. It's gonna happen.
So if Joel says you're so special, I'll be like, am I like the 10th person? And actually, you mentioned a good point. I just also wanted to add in a hack that I think would be useful. If you're building a product and your engineers are super busy building the repo and making sure that that is very well taken care of. A good hack is to get your community contributors to do your use cases that you're thinking of, but basically build an entire dApp and put it as a repo so that when you go out to hackathons or you go out and people say, do you have use cases? Rather than giving them, like, your team has to keep working on like use cases and use cases, just be like, here's an example for this, here's an example for that, and you want to try to get as many of that as possible, and I feel like that has saved us a lot of time and gotten even more people to build. So I think that's a really good hack. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay.
Yeah, hi. So I was just wondering, I mean, this is about adoption and, sorry, what's the title? Adoption and growth, yes. And I always feel that there are two sides to adoption and growth. One is talking about the community level that you all just addressed here. But then I'm just wondering, what about the adoption and growth that typically, like, I guess the traditional industry thinks about in terms of how do you sell it to a client? How do you actually have an end user of that? And I don't know, I just had the feeling that you spoke a lot about how you can get the community into it and how you can basically grow it through your internal developers and maybe external communities. But what about the actual selling of your product? How important is your product to the market, and how do you do that? How do you grow and accelerate on that angle as well?
Okay, so I'll talk about some of the metrics that we have, like based on what I can share. I think there are some key metrics to look at when you're trying to attract clients to come and do implementations, not so much at a community level, but like, putting the whole product on your chain, right? So I think things like they're super common are like TPS, time to finality, transaction speed, cost of your transactions. These are things that everyone looks out for. I think these are the hygiene metrics that you need to be able to show that are competitive with other chains out there. And then on top of that, you might have some specific metrics. So for example, for Filecoin, it's like, what's the time taken to make a deal or make a storage deal complete? What is the reliability of that piece of data to be stored across various storage providers? So if like one storage provider goes down, are you able to have a few others to back it up? So there are some product-specific metrics that you'll be able to show as well. So that's on the metrics and performance side, and we typically group those into two categories. Like you have your growth metrics, which is are the number of storage deals increasing over time, and then you have performance metrics, which is our TPS consistently low, right? And then I think aside from that, then you have other metrics which are more marketing and growth. This is aside from the community. I think community takes up a large chunk of that, saying that I have like 10,000 people in my community and so on and so forth, and that's growing. Look at my Discord, my Twitter, and so on. But you also have like, here are other client implementations that have grown. So I think looking out for blue chip partners are really important. It's so much, I think in Web3, it's a lot about the blue chip partners that you have on board, so not so much on the quantity. So even if you say you have 10 projects, unfortunately in Web3, I think today some projects still, in general, maturity is still something that people need to, kind of qualify when they look at a project. So having like, if you say like Chainlink's an integration partner for us, or, now that modularity is hot, you can say in our stack, we're using Celestia as our DA layer, and we're using a few other things. We're using Cosmos SDK under the hood. So that shows the credibility of your project, and that you have these other chains on board that are kind of, voting that your product is credible. So I think all in all, like these are some things that we present when we try to think about partners that want to come implement with us. Yeah.
Thank you. So just before you answer, I just wanted to refine as well, and thank you, you reminded me of that. I guess my question also would go in the direction of like, to what extent do you compare your offering to traditional offerings? So why is in this case like a Web3 or a blockchain approach better than maybe how it is usually done? And I actually very much appreciate the point about that makes sense that the community ultimately, if you are in that spectrum, gives you credibility and robustness. So the sustainability element of that is very important to consider. So thank you for that. And yeah, just the comparison to traditional would be interesting as well.
I think not every product in the Web3 ecosystem are built to be utilized by the Web2 ecosystem. We need to identify that. There are products, if your solution-based infrastructure that's trying to capture a lot of mind share from the traditional ecosystem, then you need to build an intersection between both Web3 and Web2. And this is what Chainlink was able to accomplish with the CCIP by onboarding traditional banks. And so how do you do this? Instead of you building your own private blockchain, you could build your own private blockchain. With CCIP integration, you still could interact with public blockchain, right, in a very secure and decentralized way. That means by integrating CCIP, your private blockchain will also communicate with other private blockchain and also other public blockchain. And this is what a lot of banks or institutions are looking for. We also understand that previously banks communicating using SWIFT. Now SWIFT might be replaced by using blockchain and could be other standard, right? Transfer standard and transfer of arbitrary data, right? You need something to sell to the other side. You don't just say, okay, I'm building an online game. Like, okay, we already have a mobile game. What makes yours different from this, right? You need to build a revolutionary product that serves both sides, right? And a lot of people are building products just focusing on the Web3 users. Not a lot of products actually solving the Web2 bottleneck that people are facing, but once you build a product like that, it should be easy for you to onboard or to pitch it to other people to say, okay, now Chainlink has a very good entry point into the ecosystem by building an off-chain data field that solves the blockchain asset price, right? And that's instant use cases. Similar to CCIP, instant use cases. Banks are using it. Blockchain ecosystem products are using it. So it becomes extremely easy for Chainlink to practically preach what they're building to traditional finances because it solves the traditional finances problem, so they need to adopt it. They have to use it, unlike other products. So if you build a product that is not solving any real life problem, then you might end up falling for the speculators where the token price overshadow the product itself.
I really like what Joel mentioned about like rephrasing it a little bit. Like true adoption is when users don't even realize what's going on. Like it's, I think that's a very interesting point. And also I never like underestimate the power of like a well-built idea just to, you know, see if it sticks to it. And the topic of adoption, I always try to approach it like in a like the typical situation, like family dinners. You know, like when your family is already like asking you, it's like, oh, you know that they know that you are in like the Web3 ecosystem or the crypto, and you know, like even if it's like, I don't know, like an uncle that was like, oh yeah, Bitcoin is a scam or whatever, and like then like some years later they are asking you, it's like, oh, how is that thing doing, right? So I always like to, when it comes to adoption, I always try to like use that situation kind of like as a proof. And like for DAppNode, I try to simplify it in the most way possible. And it's like, oh, what is it you do again? And it's like, oh, it's like a software so that your computer can pay rent. And I try to bring it down to an idea like that. So if we all go back to the first time we heard about these topics and just crypto in general, I think we can all identify a very key moment where it just stuck. So trying to relate to that part of yourself as a user in your journey and try to imagine something that could represent an idea as powerful as you can feel identified with. Yeah, I think that's always something that can help drive adoption to whatever you're working on. So.
All right, we have time for one more quick question if you guys are up for a speed round. All right, let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Andy from Palmera. We essentially help organizations, on-chain organizations, manage multiple saves. And we've been in this journey of acquiring users. And since you guys are from big protocols, I was just wondering, what are the funniest or most or counterintuitive ways that you guys have acquired users that maybe you can entertain us with?
Just memes. Yeah, memes are very powerful. I think you can see it in the current status in the market, right? Everyone is like, okay, let's make this happen already, but there's not really something that is leading the narrative. So in the meantime, we're just playing in the DeFi casino with meme coins because it's like the most powerful thing we have at the moment, like ideas and yeah, I think that's favorite meme. I don't know, Pepe. Yeah, I really enjoy Pepe.
You have a favorite meme?
I don't have any, but I think what I know is most of the interns, like if you hire a very good marketing internships, right, that could be the secret. And just make sure you have, at the end of every content, make sure you identify your intern, people who is taking care of the content. That's actually something that a lot of people are not playing with, right? Like combine memes and interns and all that, bring it together and be as natural as possible, right? Not everybody want to go through the technical jargon. Like people just want to have fun sometimes, right? Just be as natural as possible. Even don't be scared to make tweet mistake, but just it could be a very interesting comment section interactions. So those are the things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Everybody want to be perfect, right? Everybody want to sound technical, like, and you forget, like, sometimes people just want to have fun. People just want to bash you. People want to see how you respond, right? Don't take anything serious. Just be interactive in the comment section. Like, I mean, use the comment section a lot. Because if you reply to a comment, and this is how social media algorithm works, someone might say that is not even following you and just follow the conversation and then, oh yeah, I like these people. Yeah, follow. So it's quite easy.
Yeah, we wanted to put out a message for a really long time, and then it was a integration with Xla, and then Xla's intern put out a bunch of memes, and it got way more hits than anything we put out, so it is always the answer, they're right, yeah. Basically. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause.